Ladies and gentlemen, once more, welcome. This is Maitre Mola Alex Ndivelisinge speaking. Once more, I want to bring you one of the series again about Francafrique. Why I'm so concerned about this Francafrique, that's French-African connection, is because of the current issue that is plaguing our country, Cameroon. Because it seems as if so far we are following the symptoms. We are not trying to cure the disease. Most of us Cameroonians, we are pointing a finger at one man, that's Mr. Biya. It's a regime, and when I look at the regime, that regime concerns all of us, including the people of Southwest region and Northwest region. That regime concerns all those who have been silenced for a very, very long time. That's why I'm making this BCNP political broadcast based on the fact that it's us Cameroonians, whether you call yourself today Anglophones or Francophones, our problem is our problem. If you call yourself today that you are a Bulu, you're a Bamileke, you're a Basa, you're a Bayangi person, you're Banso, Bali, Manu, at the end of the day, that's the original Cameroon. So rather than us trying to pretend that we are Francophones, we are Anglophones, I'm not trying to distort the history of that country. But we should know Rio dos Cameroons is a name given to the Cameroons by a Portuguese. It's a foreign name. We should also know that before the English and the French they came to Cameroon, there was already an entity who were living there. The Bafu people had their own nation. The people of Bambaland, they had their own nation. Before they came there, the Germans, they were there, and we had a Cameroon. So it will be up to us, the people of that country, to decide where we want to belong today. Rather than threatening somebody that it's Mr. Biya who is responsible, it's Alex Ndivelisinge who is responsible, it's Pamona, it's Fonja. Those people, they have lived their life, and it's up to us to decide today. We are not going to build Cameroon today based only on a historical fact. The last 3 years have made me, I know as somebody from Bakri man who was born in Boya, I know I have to choose the people that I want to be with. People who share my tolerant value, people who share my culture. I will not build a country based on a colonial pedestal, because I've realized that you have to live with people that you share the same values. That's what's important. So I will tell you now, I'll go back to this video from Al Jazeera. You see what France does to African countries. They look for puppets, they put them there. So at the end of the day, if you think that Mr. Biya will leave office one day and Cameroon will all be roses or whatever, nice or what, it's not going to happen. So until you, Cameroonians, Africans, we sit together and kick France out of Cameroon and Africa, you people will still remain in bondage. So forget about this issue, blaming people that, oh, it's the Bekti, oh, it's the Basa, oh, it's the Bamileke. I don't believe in that. We are Africans, and we'll sit as Africans and solve our problem. There will be no Ngengeru on that table, no Munzungu, just us. Once more, I'll take you to this important video. Just follow it, and I'll give my comments after the video.
Et ça se passait très bien.
Many of the French people who were appointed to work in Gabon belonged to a network of politicians and businessmen run by Jacques Foccart, chief African advisor to the French president.
Monsieur Jacques Foccart venait régulièrement, j'étais en relation régulière avec lui, et le président, et ensuite même le président Bongo, me demandait quelquefois d'être le porte-courrier pour aller négocier avec lui. Au bout d'un an le président Léomba, à qui je rends hommage, m'a vraiment considéré comme un membre de sa famille, j'allais dire presque un fils adoptif. Il m'a dit, votre famille ici, il n'y en a pas, c'est vous et moi, nous sommes de la même famille.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs sent Pigo to work for President Umba for 1 year. He still had his office in the presidential palace 50 years later. African presidents dreamt of having close ties with France because it gave them more power. For the Gabonese, decolonization was a myth, and they saw their president as a puppet of France. On February the 19th, 1964, scores of army officers and soldiers launched an attack on the presidential palace. They arrested President Umba, dragged him to the television station, and forced him to announce his resignation.
Ayant envahi, mis à sac le palais présidentiel dans la nuit de lundi à mardi, des éléments de l'armée gabonaise s'emparaient de la personne du président Léomba, qui était contraint de démissionner mardi matin. Un petit groupe d'officiers gabonais mutinés que nous voyons sur ces images formait alors un comité révolutionnaire, tandis qu'un gouvernement provisoire était constitué sous la présidence d'un leader politique de l'opposition, M. Omar.
For more than 50 years following independence, military coups continued to plague Africa. France opposed them, provoked them, or tolerated them, depending on its leaders' willingness to comply with French interests. In the case of Gabon, Paris immediately intervened.
Jacques Faucard m'a dit, il y a un avion qui vous attend à Villacoublay et vous partez à 5 heures. Mission, vous remettez M. Léomba sur son fauteuil s'il est toujours vivant.
Memoirs of Jacques Faucard. At about 7 a.m., I reported to the general and he approved the intervention. Memoir of Maurice Robert. It's obvious that France protected its economic interests by maintaining the stability of countries like Gabon.
France signed military agreements with most of its former colonies. These agreements secured France's economic interests and allowed it to protect these African nations from external attacks. However, secret clauses also allowed France to intervene when their presidents were under threat from their own people. These agreements also gave France priority access to raw materials like oil, uranium, and manganese. The French military found him in a forest village and brought him back to Libreville, the capital of Gabon.
J'attendais la mort. Cette faucheuse de personne. Je l'ai vu de près. J'étais à 1 millimètre de la mort. Et je ne sais par quel miracle, je me trouve au milieu de vous.
After that, France was concerned about Umba's safety and decided to provide protection.
À partir de là, il s'est agi pour nous d'assurer sa sécurité. C'est comme ça que nous avons décidé de créer une garde présidentielle, et d'ailleurs nous avons confié cette garde à un ancien du SNECE, qui était également un ami à moi, donc Malouvier. C'est lui qui a créé entièrement la garde présidentielle du président Léomba.
Faucard m'a téléphoné, mais il faut que tu t'en occupes, tu rentres au palais, tu abandonnes ce que tu fais là, et puis tu reprends du service. Il fallait un encadrement, je suis allé voir le préfet de police à Paris, et lui dire Raymond, il faut que tu me donnes quand même des instructeurs, quelques fonctionnaires de police solides. Il a dit bon, je vais t'envoyer 2-3 grands instructeurs de tir, des CRS, etc. Et avec mes nageurs de combat et mes gens du 11e chum, j'ai fait l'encadrement. Voilà. C'est pas évident de prendre des gens qui viennent de leur Cameroun et de leur expliquer comment on doit organiser, protéger un président ou un voyage officiel. Tu montes la garde debout, mais tu t'assois pas, tu manges pas, tu bois pas, tu vas pas boire un coup, tu vas pas aux choses quand tu es de garde, etc. Et tu rends compte que c'est prendre des gens sortant de la brousse à zéro, et puis essayer d'en faire des simili paramilitaires, si vous voulez. Donc ça se fait lentement.
Volkar worried about another coup. He decided to have Umba closely watched by one of his most reliable men.
Monsieur Focard m'a convoqué dans son bureau et m'a dit Maurice, vous partez au Gabon comme ambassadeur.
Monsieur Focard avait donc le pouvoir de nommer les ambassadeurs.
Le pouvoir de désigner les gens qui devaient être nommés ambassadeurs.
There was a direct line between the new ambassador and his boss, Jacques Focard, and the African unit in the Élysée Palace became a state within the state, bypassing all conventional authorities.
Bien des fois, moi je rendais compte à M. Focard de certaines choses. Je ne rendais pas compte au ministère des Affaires étrangères parce que j'étais sûr qu'aux Affaires étrangères, je tomberais sur un type qui n'y comprendrait rien.
President Umba's mental and physical health were a constant concern for France and Focard. So he decided to assign some power to a promising young man, Albert Bernard Bongo, who was the office manager of the president.
Quand on a vu avec M. Focard que la santé du président Umba faiblissait tout doucement, M. Focard a eu une bonne idée, il a dit voilà, on va demander au président Umba de réformer la Constitution et de faire élire un vice-président de la République qui connaîtra le succède d'office au président de la République. On a fait une mise en scène à l'ambassade du Gabon à Paris, en faisant venir un certain nombre de Gabonais qui ont approuvé le changement de constitution.
Voulez-vous lever la main droite et dire « Je le jure ».
Je le jure. Et à partir de ce moment-là, il y a eu un vice-président de la République qui était Bongo.
Étant donné ce que fait et ce qu'a déjà fait mon ami Albert Bongo, je me présente avec M. Albert Bongo à la présidence de la République, lui étant vice-président de la République.
Et quand Umba est mort, Bongo est devenu président de la République, sans élection. Ce qui a permis d'éviter quand même une succession qui aurait été difficile et qui aurait été certainement périlleuse.
À l'époque, ça me paraissait complètement normal que la France prépare d'assez près des successions, choisisse un peu les candidats de cette façon.
C'était comme ça que ça se passait à l'époque, vous savez, tout le monde trouvait ça tout à fait normal, puisque ça préservait la sécurité, ça préservait la paix.
During the post-colonial period, France installed or actively supported dictators who never hesitated to use violent methods to stay in power.
Vive le président Ahmed Sékou Touré!
These leaders were accused of selling off their country's resources for personal gain, while their people remained in absolute poverty. France was firm in its support of President Omar Bongo of Gabon.
Nous l'avons aidé, soutenu pour qu'il puisse arriver à s'imposer rapidement, mais enfin, c'est un homme intelligent, un homme rusé, un homme travailleur, et il a eu besoin surtout d'un soutien moral. Sa montée en puissance, elle est venue, si vous voulez, de l'importance des découvertes faites par Elf. Elf a obtenu une grande partie des concessions de recherche, donc on peut estimer que très rapidement, Elf a procuré, avec les redevances pétrolières, si vous voulez, qu'elle versait, 70% du budget gabonais.
J'ai visité un peu cette ville et je vois que jusqu'à la cité des ouvriers d'Elf Gabon, il n'y a pas un boulevard. Alors voilà ce que je vous demande de faire, c'est un boulevard que vous devez faire.
My friends, and my enemies. When I sit today and I talk, people say I'm controversial. I am controversial because I do my research. Mr. Biya is not the problem of Cameroon. The people who are more dangerous in Cameroon are the people who don't do their research. People come and go. It's a regime. It's not only about Cameroon. We can learn from Togo, from Gabon, from Central African Republic, from Zaire Democratic Republic of Congo. It's a system. These people have made us to put ourselves in loggerheads while we fight each other. If Mr. Biya is gone tomorrow, they will look for somebody and put the person there. I would rather make peace with Mr. Biya and recognize him as an indigenous African. Let him stay in peace and we fight the real demon. You have heard what happened. Petrol, that was what they wanted. France sent businessmen after independence to come to Africa to control your country. They run it like a business. Liomba, the first president of Gabon, they made a coup against him. That's when the presidential guard, they introduced it in French African country. Look at him. You saw him. He looks like a mumu. They take fools and put them as president. Then we blame those presidents rather than looking at the cause of the cancer, which is France and the Western world. So sometimes I don't agree with you people because you don't understand how the system works. It's about interest. You stand, do you think Biya alone can sit there and run Cameroon for 37 years? It's impossible. These people, they protect him because after the so-called independence, these people, they have to put somebody that they needed the natural resources. They still want it. So they have to put dictators there and protect them. So do you want to be the next dictator when you point your finger at Mr. Biya? Do you want to challenge France that leave our country alone? Because at the end of the day, these people are there to take your resources. Whether Biya goes tomorrow, you put somebody else there, nothing will change. This is a period in Africa that we as Africans, not just Cameroonians, we have to stand and stop this France-Afrique. If we stop France-Afrique, that will be the first step of independence for most French African countries. Because these people are there to protect their interests. And the same people who are oppressing you, you're running to them to come and give you independence in Cameroon. That's the mistake we are making. You don't need a Muzungu. You don't need an albino to come and tell you what to do in your country. We need to embrace ourselves, whatever differences we have. Just like the people of Czechoslovakia, they came together and they look, can we stay together? Is it possible or not? It was impossible. They separated among themselves. They did not need mediators to come and speak for them. Cameroon don't need anybody who is not of this my color to come and sit and talk. To those of you who want to go and be negotiating with people outside Cameroon, we of our party, British Cameroon National Party, we are going to negotiate with Bello Guba, Ndamjoya, and Daikole Daisala. We're going to negotiate even with the CPDM government. We are Africans. We will talk with Africans. We are Bantu people. We are Tika people. So for those of you who are going to meet the Swiss people and the Belgian people, in order to promote them to continue stealing our chocolate, cocoa, it's not going to work. We have passed that stage of talking with people who have interest in Cameroon. We are not going to talk with Bolare. We are going to talk with Cameroonians, African people. We have passed that stage. All those people you are going to Swiss, it will not work. You are trying to go and protect this Munzungu to continue exploiting us. That's what you're doing. It doesn't mean that if my African brother, whether it's Mr. Bia, he doesn't want to talk to me, I'll keep on knocking at Mr. Bia's door. We'll talk together and I'll tell Mr. Bia, you're an African man. You're not going to go to ICC. You will live there. It's your country. We understand the system. We know that you're a victim of a colonial system. It's not your problem, just as it wasn't Dr. Endeli's problem. It wasn't all these our people, how do you call them, Jongu, Foncha, Pamuna, all those people. Those things have happened and we have to look ahead into a new country, a country that we are going to rule our country. We are not going to allow the Munzungu, the Sarah, to tell us what to do. You see people like some of these people, they say they are separatists. You look at them, they adore Sarah, they put Sarah, Minister of Finance, in their Facebook government. These are the type of people we don't need in Cameroon. We don't need Sarah in our country anymore. We are fit, we are capable, we have got the ability. We can negotiate and talk among ourselves. No more Sarah. Thank you everyone, and I hope this video have taught you some lesson, and I will always come time and again to tell you that the problem in Cameroon is not just one man's problem. It's your problem, it's my problem. We are all responsible for this problem. Thank you very much. Mola Aledintive listening.
Africa.